This is Danny. I'm joined by Tony. We are two of three founding partners in results-driven leadership. And today we'd like to start a series of sharing with you some of the common issues that we're facing and working through with our clients. As part of our normal protocol, we collaborate a lot together to agree on what's the best advice to give clients in a variety of different situations. And in this particular case, based on the current pandemic situation, what we're finding is there's a tremendous amount of common issues that we're seeing in the various industries that we support. And so we thought one of the ways we can start to give back to the business community is to share some of those common issues so people can see that maybe some of the issues they're facing, they're not alone, and also what some of the potential solutions to those situations might be. So that pretty much sum it up, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty amazing now, we have such different businesses, but that we specialize in, but we're all hearing a lot of the same things. So, our goal is to hopefully just give you a few snippets of information that might be helpful.
And the next topic in our series right now is customer communication. That's something that we're hearing a lot of questions about right now. Certainly a challenging time for businesses to be trying to sell. And then there's a lot of economic and health and safety types of issues coming up that are making it a very dynamic situation for when it comes to customer communication. So we're getting a lot of questions about that right now. Tony, you're getting a lot of questions about that in the restaurant and hospitality space. I'm getting questions about that in the business-to-business manufacturing and professional services space. So we thought we'd share a little bit of the advice that we're providing to our clients these days. Sound good?
It sounds good. I mean, it's unfortunately, it's the new reality that we're dealing with, and communication is going to be a lot different now than it used to be.
It's going to be a lot different, and I would argue even more important than normal. Yeah. So, well, I think, customer communication is something a lot of businesses can improve even on a normal basis, but I would say now it's become critically important. So, Tony, let's kick it off on the restaurant hospitality side of the world. What kind of advice are you giving to GMs and restaurant owners on what they need to be saying to their customers, when, how?
Well, I will say that we're in an unprecedented situation, like I mentioned, and so the level of communication and the type of communication is going to be a little bit different. I would recommend, based on any way you've communicated in the past. Some of the mediums you can still use, but the actual messaging itself, it has to change, and ultimately it's just about sincerity. And I think now's the time for your customers to hear from you as executives and owners and managers. They need to hear directly from you. They need to hear a sincere message. They need to hear open and honest communication about what it is you're doing, both with regard to the products that you might be continuing to provide, as well as the process for how you're providing them. There's a tremendous amount of anxiety, as everybody already knows. And you have to be able to address that anxiety. And, now it's in the restaurant industry, it's about safety and sanitation. So while you're talking about all the great ideas that you have, what is the messaging that ensures that the product that you're providing is safe? There's a lot of great ideas out there. I have a lot of clients that are doing some amazing things with regard to letting the customer see and know about how clean their establishment is. They're taking videos of what's going on behind the scenes, so that when you show up, you have you're a little bit more comfortable about what's going on with what you can see. And then with regard to what you can see, there's a lot of them that are ensuring that there's the social distancing is happening and not just talked about. Gloves, and different types of wear for kitchen employees to ensure that everything is being hygienic and safe. And that's what people want right now. So that's what I would strongly recommend. You look into that. And then with regard to getting that messaging out, it's, it's any type of medium that exists, emails, any type of social media, LinkedIn. Nextdoor is a great app to use to talk to the customer base within your communities. So reach out and over communicate. You don't want to be annoying, but make sure that believe me, if it comes across sincere and you're offering something that's going to benefit them, you can't over communicate that message. So.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would imagine that in the current environment, to your point about using an app like Nextdoor, I would think your audience as a restaurant right now is much more localized in the sense that people aren't driving 50 miles right now to go and get takeout. I know me personally, I would drive 50 miles to a restaurant I want to dine in at if under a normal circumstances, but right now I'm, staying within a pretty tight radius, and,
yeah,
and
very tight.
We're not seeing tourists or anything like that right now. So the communication, I would think, is you're targeting a localized area, I would think.
Yeah, you're targeting a localized area, and you're really targeting people that know you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not really the time to go out there and try to sell yourself to people that don't know you, other than to ensure that you have the information posted, that on your website, there's a header at the top that addresses this situation, that maybe provides a link to a different type of menu. But make sure you're letting people know. I know of a few different restaurants and a couple clients that I've had to get on that still haven't done that. That it's just business as usual on their website, or business as usual with Yelp and Google. Let all of anybody that wants to find you know what's going on. And then get that sincere messaging out to people that know who you are, and get it out to them often. And believe me, the other thing I did want to mention that I didn't mention is, even if you're closed down and you're not doing takeout, and you don't have any other products that you're selling, still communicate and talk to your loyal to customers and let them know that, hey, this is the reason why we decided to close, and whatever sincere messaging you want to put out there, but talk to them as well.
Yeah, I agree, and I would think in the case of those loyal customers, for that latter example where your business is shut down for whatever reason temporarily, but you intend to reopen, those loyal customers also know your employees, and so communicate what you're doing that's unique or innovative for your staff, during this time, or what you're doing for the community during this time, because that's what people need to hear, and that's what we need to be trying to do at wherever possible.
Yep. And so what's the messaging in your world? Obviously, manufacturing and business to business is a little bit different. It's a little more far reaching.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what's so unique about this situation versus other crises that I've seen in my past, were localized to a specific industry or a specific geography in most cases. And in this case, it's so far reaching, both in terms of industry and geography. So, in the past, when I had a situation that was localized to California and I had a customer in New York, it was, there were different set of challenges with what to communicate than there are now. I think a lot of the things are very much the same. You want to make sure that you're providing information to customers that is factual and objective and very much up to date on what are your hours, what is your capacity, what's your staffing levels, so that they know what the impact is on the services and products you're providing. If you have delivery dates scheduled for April, are you still on track? All of that type of communication has to be done in an even more robust way than normal. And then, of course, if you do, to your point, have additional inspirational or creative things that your business is doing, then those are good things to share. Very much not in a salesy way. It's a here's what we're doing because we want to contribute to the greater good, and we think people should know about it. And it's as simple as that. It needs to come from the heart. It needs to be sincere. It needs to demonstrate that the business is now more than ever about a lot more than just trying to turn a profit. So.
Yeah, and that's a big pivot for a lot of companies, especially when leadership comes from a sales background, and it's just inherent in their nature to try to, even when they're not intending to come across as trying to sell something, and having to make that adjustment, I imagine, would be pretty challenging.
It's really tough, and of course, if when I'm advising them, don't stop communicating to your customers, and they're saying, well, I feel like I can't sell to them right now, and it's like, that's true. It's probably not a good time to be trying to sell to them, but you should be letting them know how you can support them through this period, and you know, and how it's changing day to day. So, you know, there's different regulatory situations, there's different health and safety considerations that we're facing. It's a dynamic situation. So we do still need to be reaching out to customers and advising them how that's affecting our business, and in turn, how it's going to affect their business. And it is okay, I would argue, to say, we're here to support you any way we can. If there's something you didn't traditionally expect from us as a supplier that you think we may be able to help with, let us know and we'll see how we can help, because I think that is an okay message to say. But yeah, if you're literally trying to sell right now, I don't think it's going to be received the way you want it to be.
Yeah, well, and I think, you know, all bets are off with regard to how we've done things in the past. So, you know, another suggestion is think about, and even if you have to write down, you know, some of your thoughts, read them back to yourself and ask yourself, what does that sound like? How do you think that will make somebody feel?
Yeah.
So that you can help yourself, you know, pivot from what you've done in the past to what you need to do now. And then the last thing I would say is just, you know, be careful and compassionate with what you're saying, because you don't really know what's going on behind their closed door right now. There could be a lot of anxiety, even more than you even imagine. So just be very careful and thoughtful with your messaging.
Yeah, completely agree. And again, from a B2B perspective, if you're supporting industries that would be considered critical or essential industries right now, just keep in mind too that your customers need to know, because some of your competitors are potentially having to make different decisions than you are. And so the customer needs to understand what suppliers they have that are able to execute on whatever requirements they have. And the only way they're going to know is if you tell them what you can do and what you can't do, and be very transparent and open about that right now.
Good stuff.
All right, hope that was helpful, and we'll have more in this series coming up soon. Thanks for tuning in. Be safe, and hope all is well. Thanks, Tony.
Hey, everybody.